I have way too many windows open. Hello, folks. Welcome to another edition, the holiday edition of Social Media News Live. I'm Jeff C. I've got my peepers on today because it's the holidays. I was like, do I want to even put on pants? I have pants on, Connor. Don't you worry. But thank God, yes, right. Excited for you guys to be here. We're going to be talking about a new update to Midjourney. It's been out for about 2 weeks or so, but I am super impressed. You know I love Midjourney. It's a lot of fun. I use it a lot for our social stuff, for B-roll, all sorts of things, and we're going to get into that today. But I thought it'd be fun that if Connor and I kind of break this down and show you guys what is going on. And Connor Brown, how are you doing today, my friend? I mean, it's the holiday, but you decided to come on the show with me. I appreciate it.
I can't say no to Jeff C, no matter what day of the year it is. But be honest to the people, the real reason you're wearing your glasses is to honor our founding father, Benjamin
Franklin, exactly.
Inventor of the bifocals.
That's right. And these are progressive, so thank you,
Nice.
Benny Franklin. Yeah, so we got some people stopping in already. Got our friend Ralph from Grit and Growth podcast saying, Happy Independence Day, Happy Independence Day. Do you have any traditions like you do for Independence Day there, Connor?
You know, I try to put on something America themed, so right. I too am wearing pants. Stating
there you go. That's American, very American. America.
They have my American flags on them. I have a belt with American flag on it.
Wow, Evel Knievel almost there.
I try to do that. Just a little bit, but nothing. Going to a barbecue later today, celebrating this great land. What are you doing after this?
Gary Stockton says Happy 4th, Gary. Yeah. So today I probably watch. I usually try to watch Independence Day just because it's kind of fun.
And now that you bring that up, I forget I have it because I'm going to watch it later tonight. I always watch Jaws. Always watch Jaws.
What's
all about 4th of July.
I should watch that. The funny thing is it's the 50th anniversary of Jaws.
Yeah.
You probably knew that. I haven't ever read the book, and I am in the middle of reading the book, which is very different than the movie because they took out a lot for the movie. There's a whole mafia thing and crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So pick that up. So and we have our friend Amy Keys going. How exciting you're here! Yes, we decided. Amy is in our mastermind, and we were talking. I was like, I don't think I'll go live, but then I'm like, you know what? I will. Connor's in town. We're going to do it, so it's going to be fun. And then we have Chris Stone saying, Happy birthday, America. That's right. Happy birthday. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for all I know Jim Fuse is usually popping in. I think he's traveling right now, but I know he's a Marine, so I just thank every service member for their service. We went to a big patriotic celebration at our church on Wednesday, and it's so cool because they play the themes for each branch of the service, and everybody stands up, and it's just really cool. I wish we'd do more of that kind of stuff. So yeah, Chris helped me with the thumbnail earlier. It was kind of funky, so got it all figured out, and we're gonna hit go on the podcast machine and get this party started. Okay, here we go. Hello folks, welcome to Social Media News Live. I'm Jeff C, and you're not.
And I'm Connor Brown, and this is the show that keeps you up to date on what's happening in the world of social media and more.
So today is a special holiday edition of the Social Media News Live show. We are actually going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects in the world, which is AI images and Midjourney. You guys know I've done some trainings on that in the past, but this Midjourney has actually added a video feature. And it is very, very cool. Yeah. So we are going to be talking about that. But first, I want to do a shout out to our friends over at Ecamm who sponsored the show. You can find out more about them at ecamm.com/Jeff. You can save 15% on your first purchase by using code Jeff15. So thank you to them. I know they're all having a good time. I think Katie was going out and doing some fireworks and fun stuff with her kiddos. So happy 4th of July to the Ecamm team. But we're going to be jumping right into this, and I want you guys to ask your questions as we are going along. We got my friend, and this is for Chris Stone. Nazim is here, my friend from the Google Plus days. Oh my gosh, so good to see you. And he says, love me some Midjourney in combo with Chat GPT. Nice. Very cool. So that's a great use case as well. So we're going to dive into this because this is the new video feature that I have been waiting for. I've played with Midjourney. I played with Runway. I played with Kling, some of the other ones. In fact, my kind of workflow was that I would create an image in Midjourney or into ChatGPT, and then I would actually download that, upload it back to Kling, and animate it for, I think, 5-7 seconds, and then share it out that way. But now with this new Midjourney, it is very, very cool, and it saves me a step. So it's going to be fun to do that today. So Connor, I want you to keep me like in line, ask the questions. Yeah, don't let me stray. But
I always love your trainings though around all the Midjourney stuff, Jeff, because it's so cool what all of it can do. But a lot of the times it's like, all right, it can make, a talking baby, whatever. You always put it in the practical terms, right? Like, how can we actually use this to be better creators? So I'll keep you on the rails when it comes to that.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to right off the bat tell you guys, so kind of the I guess the specifications of the new video. So you're able to do this with any image that you have on Midjourney, and we're going to show you that. Even older ones that are using old models, they stay in your library. You're able to go in and actually animate those if you have a character or something you really, really like. It's only at 480p, which is what they call standard resolution. There is talk that they're going to really soon upgrade that to a high resolution and do it kind of that way. You can use uploaded images, like ones you have, like even photo shoots of yourself if you want to use those. It's 5 seconds, so that's 5 seconds video, but you can extend it 4 seconds at a time for a maximum of 21 seconds. So that's quite a lot of time when we're talking about it for social media and like B-roll purposes and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in, and we're going to talk about, I'm going to show you some examples of like product photography, some logos that you might be able to do. And what we did actually for this show, I was actually able to make a GIF or GIF and put it in my email, so it kind of actually had a movement in it. And when I used Kit to send that out, so I'll show you guys how to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into. Let me shut some things down before I do. And I've got, thanks to Ecamm, some very, very cool screen shares right here. So look at that. We're on the side. We are fancy. So when you log into Midjourney now, the video feature is only available now for the web-based version. There's two versions. There's a web-based and a Discord version. Discord was what everybody had to use first, and that was kind of the hang-up for a lot of people using Midjourney. Now it's web-based, and you can only use the web to create video. So I am just predicting that eventually that Discord is going to go away, and they're going to kind of move everything into this web-based version because one, it works a lot better and it's very, very cool. So this is what it looks like when you first log on here, and I'm in what is the Explorer. So right here at the top, I usually spend most of my time in the Explorer. Create is where you'll actually run prompts. Edit is where you're going to go in and like change things. So a lot of times my mustache will look really funky, and I can go in and just draw over my mustache and have it give me multiple versions until I get it the way that I want to. You can do that to remove things. You can, like, I used to use it a lot with the funky fingers that we would get in Midjourney, and you can use the edit mode for that. So, and you can also upload images and edit them that way. So it's a very, very cool. Organize is where all your stuff lives. Like,
move our videos over.
That's a good. There we go. We'll just turn them off. So organize is where all your images live once you create them. And you can go and see them, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. I really don't use chat, and I usually don't use tasks too much. Tasks is kind of their where they go to give you some more hours if you like rate some images. You can do that if you want. I just don't stay there very much. So this is the Explore tab, and the cool thing with this is in any of these images that I see, I can go and I can click on, and let's say I want to see what the prompt was for this image here. It gives it to me over here. I can see it. And I can actually use that image and make it animated if I want. So anything in the Explore tab is kind of up for grabs for you to look at and use the prompt, use the actual image to start your own kind of series of images on, or you can animate it right from the Explore tab. The other cool thing about the Explore tab is now at the very, very top, you have images and you also have videos. So now you can explore what other people are doing with the new video feature inside of Midjourney. You can also use all of these. Like, this is really cool of this ship sailing on the cup. So I could use this prompt over here and create something similar. I could change the color kind of if I wanted to, but I could start with this image and actually animate it in a different way. So I think that is super, super cool.
It's almost like, back to your days of Pinterest. It's like sparking creativity, it's how you can learn, I guess, through these prompts and see all this inspiration. We do have a couple cool questions, fun questions. Amy knew that it was AI in your email because she's never seen me wear a plaid shirt in my life. And that actually makes me think I don't think I have any plaid shirts, so I might have to.
Oh, there we go. That's what we're getting Connor for Christmas.
Nazem brings up a good point though too, which I'm very curious with. Nazem, Midjourney related question. Mood boards, profiles. Do you have to start from scratch, or did it carry over for this version?
You can use those inside of there. Up here at this, at the very, very top, Nazem, this P, that's where you would turn on personalization, and you can actually select your mood board. Like you have a global version 7 profile you can do, but then here's some of the ones that I have. You can see I have personal branding that I have set up a mood board, expressive Pixar style, and some other ones there as well. So you can turn that on and off from this big P up here. So I usually use mine off just because I like to use examples to show people and they don't need to see my personalization. But what it does is actually just kind of gives you images that you like, and you can rate different images. So I think you'll be good to do that. I think in version 6 you're able to use those same ones, Nazem, but I will double check and get back to you on that. So so we're in the video mood board. Very, very cool that you are able to see all this stuff, and you can actually render any of these. But it gives me, for me, it gives me a lot of great inspiration. Like it makes me think like, okay, maybe I can use this for Instagram Reel, or this would be perfect for a bit of B-roll or whatever. But it's really, really cool, the stuff you can do. So let me go into my some of the things that I've done and kind of walk you guys through. For example, last week, let me go all the way down. You'll see some of the stuff I've done. And here, this is inside the organizational kind of where all your images live. And you can actually turn on video if you want to just see the videos that you've created, or you can turn them off. You can, just toggle the ones you like. It's a really great way to sort images when you're getting started. So here's some images that I made of Paul when I was trying to get his thumbnail for the show last week. And so I kind of landed on, and let me go to the one I think I picked. You can see all the different ones. I think it was like something like this, or there it is. This is the one I used. And what I was able to do is inside of this new Midjourney, they have a thing when you click on the picture icon. These are some of the images that I kind of the recent ones. You see Connor's there, and there's Paul. So I used Paul's image, but I used it over here as an omni reference. This used to be what was called the character reference. The cool thing about this is it gets it really, really close. I mean, this really looks like Paul. I did take it down and did a little bit of face shopping and then re-uploaded it. But this was the image that it came up with, and I really, really liked it. And so then what I did is I went and I said to animate it. And it's really, really easy to do that. Let me go back to one of the images that I used.
Where you said you were doing a little bit of editing to his face. Were you doing that in Photoshop? What did you take out?
So there's a face swapping tool that I use called Pixar.ai, which has a plug-in for Photoshop. And so it's just kind of my workflow. I would, on the Omni reference, you're going to have to use face swapping less and less, in my opinion, because it's getting so much better. And so what I did is I cropped it, so it was going to go out on Instagram Reel, so I cropped it by 9:16, and then I uploaded it here to these, and it started like this one. It kind of looks like he has ants in his pants and moving, but you can see it's kind of funny, and like there's different, like he's really uncomfortable here. Like I don't know what's happening, but so you get these results when you do these kind of things, but it gives you 4 at a time, which is really, really cool. So let me
Chris Stone had a quick question too, Jeff, around the mood boards. When we're looking at those, is it just giving you the prompt, or is it also giving you the original image?
You can get both. You can actually run that exact same prompt that was in the create feed, or you can actually go in and take that image and use that for your starting point. Because you can use, if you see an image and you say, I don't want to copy it exactly, but I like the style, you can use that image as a style reference. Like right up here at the top, I
Right.
can use any image as a style reference. So you kind of have an image reference, which kind of gets most of the image. The style reference is the style or the aesthetic of the image. And then the omni reference is kind of what character reference when you're trying to keep consistent characters. And that's what I used for this Paul image right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click out of this and get this out of the way. Boom.
To Chris's point too, he also says that the editing functionality is a differentiator from other models. Seems like it's much more tactical now before you go with the prompt.
Yes, it's very cool. So back to the Paul's image that I did is what I was able to do is I just trimmed it up and cropped it in Photoshop, and then I uploaded it, and I said create video. And so it gives you 4 videos at a time, which I really like. And if you just hover over it, it's going to loop. But you can also hold down the command button here, and let me see if I can get it. Oops, I'm actually doing the wrong thing. Boom. Boom. There it is. Let me see. Is it this button? There it is. Yeah, to scrub. So what you can do is actually hold down the command, and you can actually scrub through all 4 at the same time.
That's pretty cool.
To see how it's working. So it's really, really cool. The other thing is when you create a video based off of an image, you have a couple of different options. You have like kind of a low motion and a high motion. And it's worth experimenting with both of them, because here, this was like he's getting a little uncomfortable, and those aren't really what I wanted. And that was just kind of auto. You also have a manual low motion and high motion, which means you can go in and actually make a prompt. So these weren't really doing what I wanted, so I went back up to here, and then I said, if you can see over here on the prompt, it says envelopes flying off the wall, subject smiling at the camera. And so that's what it created here. Then it got a little freaky and started zooming a little bit too much. Like if you saw see that like second one, he looks crazy. Definitely. So, and that was like he was getting into a deluge of envelopes. So I tried it again, and I said just envelopes coming off the wall. And that's what it kind of redid it a little bit and kind of gave me the motion I wanted. I actually picked the first one because if you look, it actually brings shadows across his face. And I thought that little hint of realism just made it pop more. And so that's why I picked this one right here. But that was all based off of one image, and I just ran it a couple times. Now, one of the things about this new model is video costs more. So you get so many hours that you get fast rendering on. So they cost, it's like an image per second. So it's basically 5 images. And so it's more expensive, and so you can burn through your hours pretty quick. And so you also have to kind of monitor that a little bit. And the way you do that is underneath your account, and I'll show you, it tells me how many hours I have left right here. So out of 30 hours, because I have the Pro plan, I have 26 hours still remaining to use this month. And you can also buy more fast hours if you need to. Here's the reason I picked the Pro plan. I'm just going to, before we jump into some more animation, I want to kind of clarify some of this, is that here's kind of the breakdown of the hourly. So basic is for a monthly price, which once again, I'm all about doing monthly because this AI stuff changes so stinking fast. Like I don't want to buy a year of anything. So I always pay for monthly. So the basic one, because there's no free plan with Midjourney, is $10 a month. You get 3.3 hours of fast GPU time. Now and you don't get relaxed. So relaxed does cost less if you're doing it with the higher tiers. So it's great.
It takes a bit longer to process your request, right?
Yeah. And so basic is great for experimenting, but you're going to burn through 3.3 hours really, really quickly to do this, especially if you're going to play with video. So standard is decent at 30 hours a month. You get 15 hours with that, and you get relax mode, which means it's basically you don't have to pay for that. Like it's kind of, you have to wait longer, but you can kind of have unlimited generations. And but the bad thing about that is no stealth mode. And stealth mode to me is really important because, as you saw when I went to that Explore tab in Midjourney, all of those images are out in the public. And if you don't have the Pro or Mega plan, that's just default. You have no choice in the matter. All your images are there for everybody to see. So because I do stuff for clients and my own branding, and I don't really want anybody copying the images that I have created, I pay for the Pro plan, which is $60 a month, which is pricey, but I get 30 hours. I get relax mode, I get stealth mode, and the relax mode for video at the Pro and Mega level, I can do unlimited video images. It just takes longer. So Does that make sense? That's why I do it.
Yeah. I know Chris had a lot of great questions here. I want to jump to Chris's real quick. Talking about the prompts, does it have enhanced prompt a la Magi and V3, or are you constantly kind of having to go in and manually iterate on that?
So it does. So here's the difference, kind of when you're doing your image or your video generation. When you type out, like, let's say, we have something like, a cat playing a saxophone, right? If I type cat playing a saxophone, that's spelled wrong. Thank you for Grammarly. What it's going to do if I hit render right now, it's going to take that prompt and try to make it the best it can. So what you can do is there's a mode that you can turn on here called raw. And what it's going to do is it's going to really be strict on your prompt. So I usually play with the standard and the raw, because standard gives me like variations and like, I never thought about that kind of thing. Raw is like, I know what I want. I'm very specific in my prompting. I'll turn that on so it follows my prompt really, really closely. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Affiliate. There is no affiliate link. I would love to have affiliate link there, Chris. So here's what we did for Paul. You kind of can see how we did that. And right here, as you hover over, you can see I could actually extend this. I could extend it automatically. I click that button and it would just kind of continue what it's got going. Or I could extend manual, which would give me another 4 seconds, but I could prompt it out. Like if I wanted, something else to come into the frame. One of the things you need to think of when you're creating these images is that if you give it too much to do in the prompt for video, it won't have enough time to finish it. And I'll show you an example of a logo spinning here in a minute. And so you want to make sure you kind of for the next prompt continue maybe another thing and then stitch it together in another program, because you don't want to try to cram everything into 4 seconds and it doesn't really work if you try to extend it. You need to like do an action, extend it, make a prompt for kind of a new motion or something like that, and then kind of do it in stages or storyboarding it out kind of that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
So, all right. So that, I think it's the stuff you can do is so cool, and it just really, I think, activates people's creativity when they're able to do this. So
Here's
that
a quick,
is
question too from Nazim, and I have something to talk about it too. He says,
sure.
I have a sense that down the road, in the not too distant future, voice descriptions are going to substitute writing prompts by prompt engineering. I did this just yesterday. I was trying to do an Instagram reel and a TikTok, and I just couldn't formulate a script in my head. So I just opened ChatGPT and I just said, hey, here's what I need. I talked right to it and it gave me a script right from there. It was so easy. Mm-hmm. But right now, Jeff, Midjourney, it's all, you got to type it in.
It's actually, there's a thing right up here that I'm hovering over right now. It's called conversation mode, and you can click on. I personally don't use it because I like to craft and change little bits of words and stuff. But there is a conversational mode that lets you do that inside of Midjourney right now. So it's very, very cool, and you can just turn it on and off, which I'm not going to do right now. But yeah, you could talk to it if you wanted. If you like doing that, Nazim, then I would definitely turn that on for you there. Here's just some things I was playing around with the video using the Omni reference here of like a lion in a convenience store looking at each other. I saw one that was pretty interesting. And you can see the variations of that's definitely not me, but like some of this is me. Like this one right here, pretty close. So
I think if you scroll up, that guy right there and the third one in, I think that's a member of Hell's Angels.
Probably, yeah. I have. But see, this. So I just want to give you some examples of the what we did for the thumbnail for this this show. If you look at the one on YouTube, is what I did is I go and I use Connor and myself as Omni references, and I create an image from that, and I pick the one that I like, that I think would work for whatever I'm trying to go for. Let me find the one I used. And I mean, these are pretty close to what I look like. Yeah. Like when I face swap, it even does a little bit better. So I think I went with one of these here, pointing at up at the sky. And I actually went into the editor and changed the way it was pointing. I think maybe it's one of these. And then I did Connor. So I was trying to get, and it wasn't really working with, I need one with your long hair. Like it was just not picking it up when you can see right here, I was using that image.
I'm going to go to Sears and I'm going to get some headshots.
Okay, good. That'd be great. But I started kind of to nail it down a little bit more. And here what you can see I did is I used Connor, and I used, because I want to keep the styles the same, I used the image that I picked as a style reference. And so it started getting me kind of closer to match us.
That's important too.
Yeah.
The fact that you can upload the images not to what's the one, the Omni reference, right? Also to the style reference,
right?
So that it's not saying, oh, use what Jeff looks like and as a human being and make me like that, but it's take the actual style of it and put it to my picture.
So what I did is, this is exactly what I did, is I went and I put you as the Omni reference. I just dragged you in like that. And then I put myself as a style reference. And then I wrote the prompt. So that's exactly, I mean, you can just drag stuff in now inside of Midjourney. This web-based editor is just really, really cool. And you can actually, like, if you like, you can mix tons of styles. Like you can drag in different ones and combine things in new and exciting ways, which is really, really cool. So this Omni reference is really, really powerful, and you can actually drag how much strength you want to do it. Like I think default is 100, but you could drag it even higher if you wanted to really lock it down when you're doing that. So very, very cool.
Has a great question that I think we're gonna kind of get to with where you're going with this, but he's played with Midjourney editor, but he tends to just keep going back to Photoshop. Jeff, what do you think about the editor overall?
So it kind of depends on what it is, Nazim. I'll go in there. Sometimes I'll use Adobe's. Like if I'm fixing a mustache, I can do like their generative. I'll draw around what I need. Photoshop's really fast for taking things out and doing a really good job. Like I think on this one with me pointing, there was a big fat ring, and I'm like, that's stupid. And I just went in Photoshop and just took it out by doing their generative fill, and it just removed it. And then what I do is I take Connor's image and then my image, and then I have a background image. I composite them together in Photoshop and put the titles on there. And I'll show you an example of that in just a second. So here's some that I was coming up with Connor. I'm like, don't really like them. I mean, they're cool. I mean, any of them I would use, and I like the stylization on them. But what I went with, because it was such a funky image, where was it? I can't find it. It was somewhere down here. He almost looked, there it is. It almost looked like he was sweating. And it was close to his face. And I went in and used the Photoshop thing on there. And then I combined them together and created, I went and made some really cool retro fireworks that I used for the background. And so I did a couple.
Did you put in Norman Rockwell? And I can see in your prompt you did.
Yeah. So I like that style, and that's kind of the ones we use a lot. And so I found one I thought would work. And then, let me see. I was still messing with you here because it was, there it is. So this is what that looks like finished if you wanted to look at our thumbnails. And then I just uploaded that final thumbnail that I created, compositing it all into Photoshop to the Midjourney video, and it made some funny things. So, like I didn't want the text to move. Some of it got a little crazy. I think we used this one right here because it looked the best. But there were some weird ones, like my hair's all funky in that one.
Yeah, I also look much older than I am.
You know what it reminds me? It reminds me of you're like Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Oh, great! What a compliment.
Yeah, but anyway, there's one like this one. This is so weird. Look at this one. I'll bring this up big. Like smoke's coming out of my mouth. I'm flicking my mustache, so you can get some really. And Connor turns into the Joker there at the end. But it's just, you get some weird results. But the cool thing is why I really like Midjourney is I get 4 at once, right? Like I can really have some ideas, and then you can go, like you see here on the side, you have rerun. Everything is beginning with a start frame. So whatever image is, that's where it's going to start. There is 2 things they're saying, that HD video is coming out soon, and they're also going to have an in frame, so you can kind of have more control. Like in Runway, you can have like kind of almost different points where you could put images and it'll kind of animate between the keyframes. And I think eventually that's going to come up on there. Here are some examples of just cool things that I was able to do from, the Explore tab. Her arms are a little long in this one, and I think there might be a lot of like straps, but I still think like maybe this third one is really pretty cool.
So Jeff, how good is it at simply saying, hey, the arms are too long, can you give me more examples, at sticking to what it did and just making
it's more because you got to remember the start frame is right at the big, let me go to the start frame. So this is what it's going off of. That's the image that it started with, right? And so it doesn't really know how long the arms are. So it'd be more of like doing one in this similar way or rerunning it again using that same image. You could give it like specific prompts, like keep tight on her face or keep zoomed in or something like that. But it's a lot of pulling the arm of the jackpot kind of thing, trying to hit the right one. So that was a cool one. This is what I wanted to show you guys, some real life things. So this is from my friend Jim Jonas and PJ, who run Goat Milk Stuff. They have a farm in Indiana. I've been there. It's amazing. Really, really cool people. They take, they have goats and they milk them and they actually make all these different products. And I use their stuff. And I was like, well, I wonder if I could use AI like for images. And so I pulled some of their images from their site, got permission to do that. And I was actually able to go in here and animate like their products. Now, the couple of them get wonky. And this is just clicking auto. Like I didn't do any prompts. I just said auto motion. But this last one where it's panning is really, really cool. Like you would use that in an Instagram post. Put some music behind it, stuff like that. I just think for people who have like Shopify or Etsy stores or something like that, where they don't want to animate or know how, being able to drop things into Midjourney and have it animate, I think that is really, really freaking cool.
I think that's so great. And I think the other thing too is, how much do B-roll subscriptions cost these days,
right?
For just stock imagery and stuff like that. And this is something where it's all combined in one. So you can get stock imagery, you can get B-roll, but you can also add your own stuff to it and get that.
And so the other thing is, with a lot of people don't realize, is like you don't always have to, for B-roll, have animation. You can just make a really great image and just slow pan in on it, or little motion that you can do in Premiere or Final Cut or even CapCut, and it still enhances your storytelling. And so you don't always have to do video with this. This is the kind of one of the first things is you can see if you don't give it prompts, like I said, okay, I did the auto motion and it just made the soap look funky, right? It just kind of made it like
alive,
haunted or whatever. But I went back and I said, okay, I want to do a manual prompt, and I told it to have oatmeal fall. So the only thing that was in the shot before was that little pile of oatmeal, but it animated the rest. I said oatmeal falling from the top in a pile by the soap. That's the prompt. And I showed this to PJ, and she's like, how did you do that? Send that to me. Because that looks, if you're really nitpicky, you could probably say, well, the oats aren't the same size as the ones over here, but I think that's pretty awesome.
That's so cool.
Because just think you could do that with, if you have a chocolate shop, or if you have, even a coffee, if you have latte art in a piece of, a coffee that you could have it spin slowly. You could do all sorts of things and animate things of the images that you've already got in your camera roll. I just think
apparel too. Yeah. Like if you have apparel and you have a model who's wearing it,
right,
you crop it out a little bit, and just that little motion of going back and forth on whatever apparel you're selling.
Right. And so, and here's some, you can go back to your library, and these are some ones that Abby had that I just hit the video button to. and it started just doing some really cool animation for some of our stuff. Here's some other examples. These are I pulled from the the Explore tab. These were just images, and I just went and said animate them, and it's just really cool the things you can do. All sorts of different styles, ideas. This one it got a little crazy, but it's really easy. You can just extend them. You can just hit one button and extend the length. Here's some other ones. I thought this was kind of good.
That's, I mean, good in the sense of impending doom and everything's over.
Yeah.
A couple quick comments.
Yeah.
Shout out, mostly Disney's here. Sean saying hello, prompt jockeys. And Nazim has also said, I'm totally sold on Midjourney. I've played with Flux and others, but in the end, it's better to master maybe 2 platforms as opposed to jumping around. And that's why, Jeff, you do that thing where you pay monthly, because it's great right now and you love it and you're mastering it, but maybe down the road something else might come. But you you don't want to spread yourself too thin.
Right. And I think too that a lot of the stuff, learning how to prompt and learning the platform to pull it in, you can use, like a lot of the things that I learned in Midjourney, I can take over to Runway and do some things. And I can, the stuff that I've learned over at Runway, I can kind of like apply here. So there's things that you can, once you learn how to say things, and to be honest, the thing that's really important is learning what styles are, like what are they even called, like what is the, and that's what the Explore page is so good, is you can go look at prompts and like, oh, I didn't know that was like, I was trying to do the Jetsons, like the Jetsons kind of style. If you guys are old like me, you know what the Jetsons was, a cool cartoon, and that style is called Googie. It looks like Google, but Googie is the architectural style, and so then you can apply that to your images and get that style because you know what it's actually called. And so it's really, really cool to be able to figure that kind of stuff out.
That is cool. So
here's some more. This is when I was trying to find some backgrounds for our thumbnail, and here's just some images that I thought were hilarious that I just was messing around with. But there's some just really, I mean, these are images that I just found and was able to animate super easy that would work really, really well for like a Instagram post. I mean, some of this stuff is just gorgeous, you know. So pull some of the other ones up, and this is I thought I like this car image, and you can see here it actually is doing some like lighting effects on the car.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we talked about product photography. I want to talk about logos. I've been talking about a lot of rebranding. We're already Creator News Live over on YouTube, still Social Media News Live in some other places, and I've just kind of been hesitant trying to figure out the best style. Midjourney is doing a much better job now with creating text. If you put it in quotes, it does okay job. You can see, new live is not what I really wanted, but new live.
We always say that though. New live.
But you can get some good ones out of here. There's a couple that I like. This one isn't bad over here.
But this is something, Jeff, that you typically do. You'll get this and then you'll upload it to Photoshop and update
or send it to a designer and say, hey, this is what I'm like and what I kind of want to do. But like this one was pretty cool. But the awesome thing is I actually used that kind of Googie style up here in a minute. I think it might be here. But then I was able to actually animate my logo. So I did this one. I really liked kind of this neon tech kind of look to it. I thought it was pretty cool. So I animated that. And then I also did one of these kind of neon ones. I think I did this one here because I thought that looked pretty cool too. That's cool. So what you're able to do is go in, and I'll go up to the top here and show you, here's some of the different animations. And that was just clicking auto thing. And I was like, that's okay. Right. This looks kind of cool. So then what I did is I said, I want it to spin, and those were not right. And so I went back and I actually went in, and all I did is did a manual. I said 360 spin, and look how it actually added depth to it.
That's so cool.
And so, but here's the point. We talked about not having enough time. So 5 seconds wasn't enough time for that first one. I really liked that first one, but it wasn't long enough. So all I had to do is extend it. And here's the version of the other one. I really liked how it was actually going through the letters and pulling those up, and like the neon was flashing. So there's some really cool things that you can do with your logo. like that you
What I
have.
think is so cool about that is that's a great uh, um, watermark for YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's only 5 seconds, but once you upload it to whatever video editing platform you want, copy and paste it until the end, right? You know,
Hmm.
and you can kind of have this continuous moving little watermark. Our friend Sean said the same thing about his logo. He said his logo came from AI, but then he had his artist kids fine tune it. So that's a great thing too, right? Like it might not get it 100% of the way there,
Hmm.
but for a non-artist, a non-graphic designer like myself, it can get me so much closer to what I actually want so that I can then hand it off to a designer or
Right.
an artistic friend.
Yeah. And so and we didn't really talk about this yet, but to actually, let's say we love this one, right? We think this is the coolest thing ever. To download it, all you have to do is, I hit the wrong one. Is you just left click on it, and then here's the options you have: download for social, download for raw video. Actually, the download for social is the higher file size because they noticed that when people were outputting these videos, that when they shared them in social, they were really compressed. So they came up with their own kind of compression ratio for this. So download for social is what I think works really well. But you can also download it as a GIF. So you could actually embed this into like like your email or whatever. In fact, if you look right here, so this is if you go to jeffc.kit.com and sign up for my newsletter, you can even see that on the page where all my my emails are, it actually animated it right there. Because in the actual newsletter, this is the GIF, because I just hit download and save as a GIF, and I can actually embed it in my newsletter, which is very, very cool.
For Kit, Jeff, is it when you go to add in the GIF, is it just an
image?
image?
It's the same thing. You just click on an image, you put a caption in it, just like anything else. And so I just thought that was a cool way, because even on the Kit's page, when they come to see like your posts to sign up for your newsletter, I didn't know it was gonna animate as well. So I think that's kind of cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, makes your stuff stick out a little bit more. So, okay, that's how you download them and export them. But a couple other really cool things. We were talking about extending the motion, and that's what I did on these. Is I extended the motion, and now I have an entire logo, so I can actually, and I probably will, put that on our little logo bug on our show, and just have that kind of slowly rotate. And you can change this out. You can extend it some more. But I just thought, because of how it actually rendered depth, like if I pause it right here, you can kind of see. I just think that's cool. Right?
That's really good. Yeah.
So anyway,
That's so cool.
yeah, being able to do that now with logos and stuff is just amazing. So, in fact, let's try it, because we're going to do this really live here on, go back to create. I already have your logo uploaded. So this is Vacation Kingdoms. And so we're just going to make sure it's on low motion. I'm going to do standard just to see what it's going to look like. And we'll just hit and let it render. Now I have my fast hours turned on, so it's going to go a little faster compared, but we can talk about, if anybody has any questions while this is rendering. So it's kind of starting right now. You can see it's 10% complete. Any questions you guys have as we're kind of wrapping up? But I have been so stinking impressed with the things that you're able to do with this, and even use your own images and animate those. I mean, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Yeah, and Nazim says, what's crazy is how fast the results come out. I can't imagine doing these with video edition software, right? It's very, very cool.
Well, one thing, Jeff, is if you're getting an image from Midjourney, we talked about downloading, these video files. What kind of output can we get for the images? Is it only JPEG, PNG? Can we get the
PNG is for images, is what you can do. And so, like, if I want to download this one, you can there's also, you can actually take it to like a Topaz is a big upscaler, so you can actually upscale some of these videos if you have to have them for HD stuff until they come out with the new version. But for downloading, you can upscale it, and I usually do upscale subtle, and then you can save the image as a ping is what it comes out to. So
nice.
Cool. So let's see where we're at here. I shouldn't have done that because now I've got too many things going, and I have the ball of death. There it is. Cancel that. And we'll go back to the create tab. And here we go. Let's see what it did on yours. Oh, just kind of spun them.
That's pretty cool still.
Yeah. So let's do that same prompt again. And I wonder if we can do a like 3D 360 spin and see what it does. So at starting frame, low motion, and we'll do this and see what it does. So anyway, I mean, I just think it's very cool. And I mean, we could actually go in and say, if we were going to do it, we could say a retro logo that says Vacation Kingdoms. I should have said Drunk Disney, but and we'll just do images and see what it comes out with. Oh, I did anyway.
Our friend Gary brings up a point. AI is cool, but nothing beats good old creativity. Companies will still need creative people. And I think, and I would assume, Jeff, you agree with me here. The people who are great at using Midjourney and these tools are the ones that are most creative in using it, right? It's a different type of creativity, but you really need to have some sort of creative juices to understand this.
So it had a double K there. And to be honest, Ideogram or Ideogram does a better job with text than Midjourney, but Midjourney for me does the best styles. So those are all pretty cool. I mean, this is what I do because I have the pro plan is usually, and so I can just go here and rerun this prompt. I can say use this, and I can use this parameter, and I usually go --R7, and so it's going to give me 7 sets of 4. And so, and because I have the pro plan, I can have these go for a while. But then I could animate any one of these. So this is why when you look at our organizational and we have all these images is because I render out a lot to find the one I like. That's why I said it's like a slot machine. Like you got to pull the handle a bunch. So that one's not bad. Starting to render.
Rich Graham says, I gave up on Midjourney a while back. It never could keep characters consistent, but it's time to revisit.
Yeah, the Omni reference, Rich, is really, really cool. Yeah, it still has trouble spelling things. All AI does, the best one for spelling, in my opinion, is ChatGPT. I think it does the best. So I did about 2 months when we were doing the thumbnails, and if you look at our YouTube, you can see that I just used ChatGPT images because I really wanted to learn it. It was cool, and it had a specific look, but it almost looked too ChatGPT-ish, right? Like it looked...
if like, M dashes could be an image. That's what it looked like.
Exactly. But, I mean, some of these are not bad. Like, you could go in and you could, like in the video editor or even, I mean, in the editor, you could go in and actually change some of these. Like, that's not bad. That kind of looks like Moana font. But, I mean...
Video, like Dad asked, is Midjourney a good alternative for stock video footage compared to Artlist or other libraries? Absolutely. We kind of mentioned that a little bit before. Definitely a great place for stock footage.
Yeah, I've canceled, especially for images, I've canceled all my stock photo libraries because even when they have these huge libraries, you can run into a chance of seeing that again somewhere else on somebody else's channel. Yes. And being able to have custom individualized things in your style, like images in your style, to me is really, really cool. And I talk about this and Connor, we've talked about it before too, is that like being able to take the things that you've never been able to have out of your head onto the screen or a design that you're similar to what you were thinking, this just opens up everything. Like it is so, so cool. So let me go see where the videos ended up here. So it didn't do the 3D, but it kind of gave you some spinning things. But you could play with that. I mean, I just did your logo really, really quick. But let's find one here that we can animate so they can see. Which one do you like, Connor?
How about that?
This one?
Right now.
Yeah. That one? So the cool thing, what you can do when you're kind of narrowing down how you want something to look. So I can go here and click on it and look at it a little bit, and I could actually do some variation. So I can do a subtle variation, and it's going to give me another set of 4 images that it's just going to change it a little bit. or I can do strong variations. And I do this a lot when I'm trying to figure out a style or an image that I want to do. So if we go back to the top, it's starting to render those out. So this is a variation. This is kind of the slight variation. You can kind of see there's a little bit difference, like between the kingdom here, the kingdom there. Yeah. And so here's the vaccinations. So yeah, this one's not bad.
That domain, vacations.
Yeah.
Now.
But like, so you can see how it's really doing a bunch of more variation than down here. So let's just do this one, and let's just see now. Here's the animate image. When you click on it, we can do low motion. We'll just do auto. So yeah, Rich. So I did a little bit about the face swapping at the beginning. I use a plugin called Pixai.ai. Pixai.ai in Photoshop is when I kind of do the face swapping. But mostly we're talking about kind of just extending any image that you have or any uploaded image you have and do the video feature here in Midjourney, which I just think. So here we got them rendering. I'm always interested to see what it's going to look like. So, and then we could go in. This is just auto. We could actually go in and say, hey, can you make the clouds go across the background behind the castle? And it'll probably do that to an extent. So you could go in and change some things up. So it's always fun to start playing with this stuff. And there's Mr. Lou Mangello. I was going to use the picture I have of him squeezing Pluto to animate, but I decided that might get me banned.
Mickey's dog, Pluto?
Yeah, I have an image that I have saved as my favorites of him on a cruise ship, and it was his birthday, and he had a little Pluto around it. And he's squeezing, So here it is. See, that's kind of cool. It's got a little bit of magic.
That's pretty awesome.
Pixie dust going through there.
I mean, talk about like a YouTube intro there. You know, like put a little music behind it or something like that, and it's just an intro logo reveal.
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of like this. I mean, because it's very subtle, but it's doing a slow zoom.
That's really cool.
So I just think and I like the wood grain in Vacation too. I mean, it looks like one of those Wilderness Lodge signs.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that is kind of we're at the 10 minutes left. This has flown by. Do you guys have any questions while I'm still inside of Midjourney that you would like to see? Anything that I went over too fast, or just let me know here in the comments, because this is just kind of a fun one we wanted to do today. But you can do some really, really cool stuff and learn from the Explore. I mean, look at this one. That is stinking awesome.
Yeah. That's wild.
I mean, the stuff you can do from this. Let's see if there's any. Got to be careful because you never know what's going to come up. So Nazim says, I did a test last week after the lawsuit announcement of Donald Duck smoking a cigar and did it perfect. Now I don't know if I would do it. Now, I have heard now that they are actually banning if you're trying to output video or you're downloading video of copyrighted characters, right? Like, so I would just stay away from it. I don't want my account banned for any reason, so I just would not do it. But there's there's just really cool stuff that you can do now inside of this, especially for social posts, that sort of thing.
So that's another question though, Jeff. You know, it's one thing to download something that is replicating a copyrighted material. What do you think about like a prompt that you use is in the Pixar style? Like, is it still okay to upload as a reference point, or?
I think that in for styles is different. I don't know if they're going to go that heavy-handed. I know for ChatGPT, when I was trying to do, like, remember when everybody was doing the action figures in a box? I wanted to have it like the Kenner Star Wars action figures. Didn't let me do that. It was like, nope, sorry, no bueno. And I went back and said, I want it to be a retro space drama kind of, and it did it, and it looked exactly like it. So there's workarounds, but just don't render like Nazim. That test was probably cool, but I would not download that image because I don't want my account banned, especially because of the lawsuit that's going on. It's really interesting to me that Disney went after Midjourney and not anybody else, because everybody else is doing it, and I'm not really sure why Midjourney is the culprit. I mean, it's easy to do, maybe it's easier.
I'm no legal expert, but I would have to think that they think that case is easier to win. Like Disney thinks they can beat Midjourney more easily, and then it's almost giving them like a proof of concept for the next after that.
Because they don't have the staff. They are like, I think 7 people, which is amazing for this tool.
That's insane.
And they're very transparent. And the problem is you can't put this back in the bag. If we're not going to do it here, some other country's going to do it, and you'll be able to go in with a VPN. And I mean, it's just, I don't know how you're going to put it back in the bag. Now, I think they could probably do digital watermarks. Adobe's doing a really good job of like only training supposedly on models that they paid for. Midjourney, I mean, you can do Marvel characters, DC characters, any character you want. But I would just be very, very wary. I think it's going to happen. It's going to be cracking down. So I stay away from that stuff. So anyway, any last questions before we go? Connor, did you have any questions, comments, threats?
Well, I just want to bring up a comment from Amy Keys where she says, these logos are so fun. I can just hear the unsinkable Connor Brown playing in the background. Cue the music.
Oh, yeah. So there we go. I should make a music video.
I would love that.
Alrighty.
On this 4th of July, we celebrate leaving one monarchy, but remember, I am and always will be the king, as that song says. Thank you.
It doesn't say they're the king. It just says all hail the name of Connor Brown.
No. Is it not implied?
No, it's not. So tell everybody what you've got going on in the amazing universe of the unsinkable Connor Brown.
Such a fun conversation today. I always learn so much whenever Jeff does one of these tutorials. Right now, I am really focused on some short form content. Last week, I talked about being inspired by Pat Flynn's new book, Lean Learning. So for the next 60 days, I'm trying to do one short form piece of content every single day. I'm 11 days in. Doing great. So follow me at Vacation Kingdoms on Instagram and TikTok, at Theme Park Happy Hour on Instagram as well. Thanks everybody for tuning in on this holiday. So awesome. So great. Have a fantastic 4th of July.
Yeah, and thank you to our sponsors over at Ecamm. You can find out more about them at going to ecamm.com/Jeff. Use code Jeff15 to save 15% on your first purchase. Well, thank you, Amy. She says it was great. It was so great to have you here and spending the first part of your 4th with Connor and I. I hope you got any questions you have on Midjourney. Send me a message at jeff@jeffc.com. Be more than happy to answer what I know. But it's really, really cool. Try out the new video feature. Wish there was a trial period, but it's worth, even for those hours, for $10 to go there and play with some logos and things like that. And let me know what you make. I'd love to see it. With that, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Connor, for being here. Have a great 4th, everybody.